orange gum.
Hello, everyone.
You are here with Wendy T and Hope Skibitsky. And for any of you that are watching on YouTube, you might see we are dressed out in our sports garb. And you might also see that in all the episodes where Wendy and I have said that we are best friends but couldn't be polar opposites.
Yet again, that's
Gear that
true.
we're wearing speaks just to that. She's in her Boston gear and I'm in my Yankee gear. So
We literally don't understand how we're friends.
I know, right? Well, Justin and I have this conversation all the time. Like, I don't care who your team is. Like, if there wasn't a team for my team to rival, there would be no baseball. So you do you. I'm glad for that. Okay, so
So
today,
obviously, this segues greatly into our topic for today.
yes, yes. And so the reason why we're dressed like this is because we thought it would be fun because our topic is boosting your confidence, right? We want us to learn how to be our own biggest fan.
Yeah, and clearly I win in this category.
She does win in this category. Wendy has all kinds of self-reassurance.
No, I'm your biggest fan.
No, well, you already have your own biggest fandom though. Like you do a lot of, but you also are my hype man. You do a great job of telling me things that I should probably see for myself. Thank you, honey.
Everywhere I go. I was at a conference last week and everybody's like, is Hope here? Is Hope here? They didn't even say hello to me. It's
I
literally the first words out of their mouth. Is Hope here? And then lots of like, we have to send a picture to Hope.
I would have loved to be there. I would have loved to be there. I miss a lot of that. A lot of those folks. I love it.
I know. I told them that you're with your other favorite person, Garrett.
Oh, my baby boy.
Yes.
I could
So
talk about him all day long.
yeah, yeah. So again, I win in the becoming your biggest fan. But today we're going to talk about how we become our own biggest fan.
Because like there's that thing where you might spend an hour and a half doing your hair, doing your makeup, men, shaving your face, shaving your head, doing whatever you do.
Right.
And then the minute you walk past a mirror, the first thing you see is the one thing that's not good. Oh, that hair is out of place. Oh, my makeup is running. Oh, like you're missing the 10,000 pounds of good because you're focused on the bad one thing, even if it could be bad. I mean, who could even call it bad?
Yeah, nobody else notices like that one little thing.
Nobody. But here we are. Like sometimes that self-deprecating humor is a mask that we use because we think that if we downplay ourselves or beat up our own shortfalls, that no one else will have the room to do it, or that they will know, okay, they already got it. They already know it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Like when we're walking through insecurity, there's many layers to it or areas of it, whether it's in our personal life or it's in our professional life. And if it's in our personal life, whether it comes to how we see ourselves in, how we are as a parent or how we are in a relationship or how we, our body image is, there's a lot of layers here for.
That's right. I say that all the time. Like you will catch me outside in a uh, wetsuit in public, but in my own pool, I'll wear a bathing suit, right? But out in public, I'm in like a knee-length shirt or a wetsuit. Like I have all kinds of, you know, I don't want to say I have body dysmorphia, but I do have some like, self-image shortfalls. We'll get to that.
And so when we walk through like what self-doubt might look like or how it manifests in us, and I feel like it's very relatable for a lot of people. And sometimes we're great in some areas and then not great in others, where I feel like very confident. I feel very confident as a relationship builder.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel less confident in other areas. And then, so when that is true, how do I like start to build my own rock star image in these areas and feel like start walking through positive affirmation and start building that like, you know, minimizing those negative thoughts and find that healthy area to make myself feel good about who I am. Because I heard this great talk last week about, what are you the best at? And write down what you think you're the best at. And so then people were spending some time working through that. And she walked through, I guess who it was? It was Haley.
Aw, she's
And
great.
she was like, you're the best at being you. Like there's nobody else who does that better. Right. And so then she was, walking through how you can come up with your business idea about solving a problem because you're a good you. And so like what things bother you and how do you fix that thing that bothers you? And so anyhow, we are good versions of ourselves. And so how do we start minimizing those negative things that nag at us?
Think and one of the things that I think we don't always do well as humans is sometimes we can be the best at everything. And if we stumble, even, I won't even say fail or fall, stumble at something, we then feel apprehensive to get back into anything, because if I sucked at that, won't I suck at these other things too? And so then you become this monster that believes in perfection or nothing. And I think, like, I think it was General um uh Patton that said, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Because sometimes you've got to just do, you've got to get the reps in, you've got to do, you've got to suck at it, you've got to break it, you've got to, and even if you did succeed at it, doesn't mean you'll succeed at it always.
Hmm.
But I
I
think we
used
get
to
hard
use
on ourselves.
So I used to use that example. I know that not everybody, not all of our listeners will maybe know exactly this explanation, but hope you remember with the C-17 that carried all the passengers
Yeah, yeah.
overloaded, right? And so you might be able to describe this better than I can, but I used to use this as an example of, we applauded all of that. And those pilots had to make like quick time decisions. There was no guidance really, and we really applauded all of that. And you know why? Because it worked.
Yep.
But if it didn't work, it would have been this disaster and everybody would have been like, pointing fingers and whatnot. And I kind of tried to walk through this and explain to people we should applaud the fact that they made a decision, that like they tried, like there was no guidance and they made a decision, because we need to applaud the fact that there was effort made, because we need to be better about people rolling out and leaning forward on things when there's no direction.
Yeah, and
And so
there's no book on how to do the everything in life, even. And, like when you meet that individual that's like, well, there's really no groundwork laid for that. You're like, but something has to start somewhere, right?
mhm.
And
Yeah,
so
so I know exactly what you mean by that, right? And so,
yeah.
if that had failed, they would have been crippled in decision making forever.
Oh yeah, they'd be apprehensive to decide even what deodorant to buy, because then it's like, am I gonna get it wrong? Will I fail at this too?
Right,
And this
right.
isn't the same. I mean, it might be in the same vein, but it's probably not the same thing as imposter syndrome, because imposter syndrome can be some of that like negative self-talk on, do I really belong here, or will somebody find me out? I think this is both personal and professional, where sometimes you think like my other is too good for me, or will I ever meet their expectations? Or, like we were saying before we started this, was there might be that somebody who is really, really, really strong at work, can give direction, can follow up on things, can tell people what the expectation is, can meet all the mile markers.
Mhm.
But at home, they might be in an emotionally abusive relationship or a physically abusive relationship, or they might feel like they are in some semblance of indentured servitude because they, can't say no or stand up for themselves or have the self-worth to be like, I deserve better than this.
Yeah, I think that it's probably more common than we think.
Sure. So what do you do though? I mean, if I am that person that I'm having these like self-deprecating behaviors, either in my personal life or my professional life, where do I begin? And being my own fan, where do I get the pom-poms and the, excitement to tell myself, if not me, then who?
I mean, I know that you've heard me say this before. I explain this a lot of times as like, if you were giving this advice to somebody else, what would you say? And you need to make that person yourself.
Julie Roberts said it in Pretty Woman, right? When she's saying all the bad things, and Richard Gere is like, why? And she's like, well, the bad stuff is easier to believe because he's giving her these things that he sees in her, and she's like, I've only ever heard the opposite. And sometimes the only ever heard the opposite, the only ever heard the bad is coming out of our own mouths or into our own brain. We spend the most time with us. And so if you are constantly telling yourself, I'm not good enough, or I'm not thin enough, or I'm not smart enough, your brain will believe it. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Mhm.
So
So when, I think about, would you talk to your friends like that? you would have no friends if
Is your
you
mother with that
did
mouth?
this. Yeah. So if you were talking to your friend, you know, you would use different words and you would be more encouraging. And so, like, how do we make that friend ourselves?
Yes, because when you're with you, do you tell yourself, "Okay, you hope you got this. You can do this. If not you, then who? And why is that other person worth this pay raise? Or why is this other person worth my soulmate? Like, I deserve this. I have worked hard. I deserve this." And so when you start being your hype man, telling yourself you're good at a thing, you can start to believe that thing.
And I know like people are motivated in different kind of ways, right? That work something works differently for everybody. I didn't watch the Olympics, but I did see like the little clips from different people, and I loved watching the women's gymnastics team. There are different little clips, right? And I mean, I saw like the picture of Simone Biles doing her quick meditation before her event, and I saw the little clips of like people focusing in on the moment where it's like I've got this, like those positive affirmation words, and these are champions, and people who are using positive affirmation to get them through their hard thing, their moment, like vectoring themselves. And I mean I was just such a fan of how they tried to change the culture of their training environment, that it didn't have to be just beat down and no fun. Because Simone Biles talked quite a bit about, you know I like to laugh and make it fun and make it a good time, and I don't think that maybe that works for some people, it doesn't work for me. I like my environment to look like this, and she did it. She showed how her environment can build a championship team and win. And so I was really proud of that. Like she showed what worked. And I just imagine as a young adult, her walking away from something to say, like, this, I can't do this right now. It must have been very difficult.
Yeah, and so it's not their idea, but I got the chance to sit through some training for the Paul Hertz group, and they were talking about visualization. And they brought up the fact that people like Sean McGregor, is that his name? The fighter, and uh Michael Phelps, the swimmer, how both of them use visualization to picture themselves winning, picture
Mhm.
themselves getting there first, remembering the smells of the arena, feeling the excitement of what's going on, like all of these things that are true to the environment itself. They picture themselves there, but they picture themselves on the gold platform or with the winning medal on. And the more
Mhm.
that you have that like self fandom, that winning picture in your head, the more you will work toward that thing, or at least believe that that thing is possible for you.
Because I can see it, right? I can
Yes.
see that it is in the realm of possible. And so I'm a big believer in that too. I have always been encouraged by the idea that, you have to see it to believe it. I have, seen the people that are the firsts, like now it's in the realm of possible. And so, and then, like the bravery of the people who have yet to see a first and who think like, okay, like it's not there yet, but I'm going to see myself in that space to break the barrier so that people can come after me. And, those are impressive.
You
And
just made me think about it. So special operations used to always have this saying, like, think outside the box. And if there is no box, build a box and then think outside of it. And so it's one of those things that if there's something you want to do, even if that thing has never been done, picture that thing being done and then picture you being the one doing it, right? Like be
but
your own fan.
I mean, if you remember back to the We Believe season when we, were overcoming an 0-3 deficit and won 4 games straight to beat the Yankees in the World Series, it had never been done before. Never. No, and so
That's right. That's right.
I,
Though
I,
not
I
applicable to you being your own fan, definitely
but those
a
players
blip
had to think like
in
it
history.
is possible, right? They had to, think we can still be here. We deserve to be here. And
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. And it's just one of those things, though. Everybody that plays on a winning team wants to see themselves with the ring or the trophy. They want to know that the thing happened on their watch with them in the seat. Like these are things that they want to know is true for them. And I think that if until we start to plan for ourselves, that I could picture myself winning. Like if you're not your own fan, who else is going to be? If you're not willing to see yourself like at the lead, who else is going to, you know?
And it's just easy. It's really easy to fall in those traps of like not feeling like there's such a fine line between humility and confidence. And, I used to be asked a lot, like, is she really just, is she lacking in confidence or is she just very humble? Or, is this, there were a lot of questions because, I didn't feel like super confident in, my space as a pick a thing in my profession or, in a lot of my areas, because I feel like when you're surrounded by people who are just like these superstars, you start to feel very much like you're, like just average.
Yes.
And it's difficult to see yourself as like just being, a peer or in that arena. And so, I always feel like everybody around me is so great. It's hard to see like that I can offer anything. Um, it's hard to see where you have successes when you're in those spaces. And I don't know that I've always, I don't know that I feel overly confident in many areas of my life, other than, like I feel like I have this great friend circle.
I say that a lot to myself. Like there's times when I'm around like you, like writers, professors, educators, engineers, all these people. And I'm thinking like, what do I contribute to this? And how do I fit in here? And what's my strength in this like group of smart people? And the thing that I often tell myself is I like that I'm here. And the fact, by virtue of the fact that I'm here, if nothing else, me is going to learn something new. Me is going to grow just by being around these other people. Me is going to get something that maybe I can give to somebody else later because these people are investing in me. I can invest in somebody else. And so even if I have some of those moments, like I'm just not sure where I fit, I like the idea that I can grow my self confidence and then thereby have an experience that will help me grow someone else's.
I tell you, I want, those are like so many different areas in the professional sense, but I think another area is like I watch a lot of the Instagram influencers when it comes to like fashion and that kind of stuff, and I was watching this one young influencer and she was like, I am just over it with like not wearing these kind of things and those kind of things because I don't fit a certain size. And she was like, it's hot in the summer here in, wherever it is where she is. And she was like, I'm gonna wear these clothes because I'm not gonna miss out on all of the fun activities in the summer because I want to be so covered up that I can't be enjoying things outside.
That's
And so
right.
she's like, so I'm gonna wear the things that fit my person that are made for outdoors and I'm gonna enjoy myself, And so she was like, I will find the things that fit me and wear them.
Yeah.
Want to look good doing it, So she was like, so she started like showing this is the thing that fits, and this is how it fits, and this is what I like, and this is how I paired it, and it looks great, And I
Yeah.
was like, good for her, Just,
That is self-confidence, right? And self-confidence is a part of self-fandom. Like telling yourself that I don't have to be shaped like everybody else. I don't have to look like everybody else. I don't have to have the same education level as everybody else. I know plenty of people that don't have higher education that are some of the smartest people I know.
truth.
Capable, crafty. I mean, just smart.
Mhm,
Doesn't mean that they're not smart because they don't have higher education. It might have meant that they didn't have an opportunity or it just wasn't their priority.
mhm.
You
Yeah,
know?
no, I mean, I talk about Bob frequently, who, owned his own business and was one of the most successful business owners that I know. I mean, obviously bought and sold for his company several times and was extremely successful and truly one of the smartest people I know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And
and
I mean,
never went to college, never went to college, right? But just, other people that I know, Rico, who talks about a business decision that was made, and he's like, yep, I earned my MBA in 5 minutes on that decision, like,
yeah, right. Yeah. But I think about that all the time. I see some people that I'm like, man, I grew up with these folks literally, and I'm like, they have a similar education to me, they have a similar background as me, and they're doing some really incredible, gigantic, big, amazing things. And I don't think it's because they're better than me. I think our goals are different, and I think our aims are different, and I think that's okay. Like, I really really wish that, just like parents should stop comparing their children, I think that we should stop comparing ourselves to other people, because what
That is
I
so
want
true.
is different.
That's right. Yeah, I think that is just definitely a dream killer is like when we start comparing. And it's so easy to do because, today we have all of the instant ways to see somebody else's life.
That's
And
right.
so it's really easy to chip away at our confidence because everybody's life is so on display.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see somebody with their boat and their RV and all the big things, and I'm like, I don't even like camping, much less living in a camper. And I'm like, and I am just okay with bodies of water. And so I'm like, why am I trying to be envious of something that isn't the thing I want? I want a bobcat, by gosh. Like, that's where I want to pour my money in, should I ever get any money. Like, these are the things that I want. It's different and it's okay.
Right. So, what are some of like I talked about like some, treat yourself like how you would talk to a friend, use those positive affirmations, um, start chipping away at the small goals.
Well, I
And
think part of it is setting your goal. Like,
yeah.
most people don't actually take the time to determine what the heck is it that they want. What do they want, right? And it can be like a goal that I want to accomplish within the next several months. It's a goal I want to accomplish in the next year. And it could be goals like, I want to learn how to make a grilled cheese that's not burnt. Like, I'm just saying, like, it doesn't have to be audacious. But then there should be moonshot goals, as I hear a lot from different organizations. But like, what if money, time, education wasn't a factor? What
Mhm.
would you do? And
It's
then
and
plan
then
for that.
and when did we stop dreaming? You remember when, like when we were kids, we thought like of these big, great, huge goals and dreams. And, as we got older now, like the goal is not as creative and fun.
Yeah.
And so I think, I think even by high school, we start to lose some of that creative, fun thinking and just stop believing in the realm of possible, and start thinking like reality has set in. But if we start removing some of the boundaries in our thinking, I mean, and when I say we, I mean, literally, this is again, work in progress as usual. I just, when did we stop thinking that life could be fun? Because they're so bogged down in, you know, the what we have to do that I think, part of our becoming confident in things needs to be just to be able to be comfortable in who we are and believing that, you know, this is our life to enjoy and have fun and thrive in and, like ditch that self-doubt, like kick that shit to the curb. And
And I hate to sound like a one hit wonder or a constantly repeater, but what someone else desires doesn't have to be what I desire. Like, if I see, because I mean, I think of this all the time. Like, I know a couple that like could wash their hands in their money because there's so much of it. Like, they don't even know what to do with it. There's so much of it. And I don't have that problem. But for me, my goal is to get my deck finished. And my goal is to, be able to have parties where people can come hang out at the pool and have a good time. And so my goal isn't to see how much money I can leave to people after I die. It's to spend the money doing a thing that I enjoy out here in my backyard. Right. And so stop comparing yourself. Stop trying to make other people's goals your goals. Stop trying to want what other people want and have. Decide what it is that you want, and then tell yourself you can get there. But don't just have like that blind optimism that, oh, luck will fall in my lap. You do have to do some work.
yeah. Yeah. And then, what are I think that like, instead of just saying no, like, where are the boundaries? And now that I know where it is, how do I overcome it?
That's right.
And so like if there is a I need help with this, then reach out and find out where we can get it.
Yeah.
And I have been so impressed with the people that have that abundance mentality. uh, there are people out there with it, you know. Gosh, I just saw another, Josh White had just shared, somebody was like, man, I've been kicking around the idea of a podcast, and he was like, hey, if you need help, brother, let me know. I'm happy to help. And I'm like, I love that, because he has a really successful podcast, and he's the first person to help other people stand up, you know.
Yeah.
I saw, oh my gosh, I'm failing on the name, Bowden Trip.
Sure.
Yeah.
Totally. Yep.
Yeah, I saw him last week, and of course he was raving about you, asked about you, and I'm just so appreciative of all the people who share.
Well, this
And
is the thing that you and I have said about us for as long as I can remember is like, I don't know have what I have to offer, but I will offer it to anybody that wants it. Like I remember when we were competing for different awards in the Air Force, and a peer who is going up for the same thing as me would reach out and say, "Hey, can I get a copy of your package?" Yeah, okay. I don't care. And a lot of people are like, no, I wrote mine. I'm like, I dare you to use all the same bullets. Like, there's no way you could use the same bullets, but I'll show you what I wrote. Like, I don't have that same like fear that you're going to steal a thing because I don't live in the world of scarcity. I believe that there's enough for all of us. And so, again, I don't know what I have to offer somebody, but if you want something, you let me know. I will share, right? Because so many people have shared when I asked, so many people have come when I called.
that is my friend circle, people who are willing to give and give and give, because we all want to see our friend circle in Hope's backyard, laying around her deck, her awesome deck and
Please
pool.
come hang out with me. I hate to sound desperate, but please come hang out with me.
Just like the abundance of money can be just enough for us just to be enjoy vacation together. Right.
Yeah, my big audacious goal is to not be the lonely retiree. So I look forward to visitors. Please come hang out at my pool.
I just told BK is heading, I think I'm gonna lie to you and say it was like September 19th for graduation. I'm like, make sure you see Hope.
Please make sure you
Mhm.
see Hope. Just buyer beware if you come hang out at my pool. My husband wears a Speedo. He's gonna hate me saying that out loud, but it was an agreement that we had. If we got this swimming pool, he got a better bathing suit.
Right. It came out of Legally Blonde. It's his uniform.
It is his uniform. I do love him. He entertains me and he puts up with me. I'm a lot, you guys, if you can't tell.
Mhm.
So we could chat about this all day long, and I know we could forever and ever. And honey, I could spend all day with you. I do miss you.
I miss you too.
Um, but we really should let this go. And so I will just give you a space if there's anything else you want to add.
No, I just, if you feel like there's an area of struggle, as always, just, send a note, and we're happy to make time, because none of us gets out of this alone, right? And I've had more than enough people who have poured into me, and I'm happy to be that person for you. I know Hope has had a number of people. I heard somebody was telling me she gave her phone number like up front at the beginning, and I've never seen that done. Like, you make a lot of space for people to share. And so I never want people to feel alone in their whatever it is that they're going through. And so if you don't feel like you have an overabundance of confidence in an area, whether it's at home, in work, whatever it is, send a note and just say, like, hey, I could use help in this or this topic, if we could dive in further on this.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of the reasons we started this journey,
Yeah.
was like
Share
we
my
have these
number with me.
conversations with between the two of us, and we were like, let's open the aperture.
Yeah.
To kind of come back to that abundance mentality, is just to kind of open that circle.
Yeah. And you make a good point. I mean, I'll share my number with anybody. I know that sounds like, I don't know, vulnerable, but I feel like I'll sort through 900 spam calls to get the one call that somebody needed me. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we just wanted to, because we laugh and we have a great time and we never feel alone. And so I didn't want other people to feel like that, because life is hard.
Yep.
So
100%. Okay. As always, if there's anything you want to hear, you want to talk about, want to give us some feedback, you can do that. orangegumpodcast@gmail.com. You can look up all of our episodes at orangegumpodcast.com. You can listen wherever you listen. And if you want to watch us, act a fool and wear our fan gear on YouTube is where you can find our video. And until next time,
See you guys later.
take care, y'all.